Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast, a podcast committed to supporting you in your journey to life mastery and personal enlightenment. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor, and today I am here in our mini home studio with the incredible, I'm going to call him the Chi Master, the Key leader, and someone that in search of Key found Key. And I actually, we were talking with my team and we were saying, did he search Key or did Key found him? Did Key search for you? I think you were selected, chosen, in a way that one becomes the servant of the mission one beholds. It's like, I don't know, I always think like my mission found me. I didn't find my mission. I didn't find my purpose. It found me. And then I said, oh yeah. And my ego said, yes, that's my mission. And my mission didn't care that I said my and just took over. But I'm here with Mr. Damon Damato. This is episode 3 of 3, and I'm sure more are going to come. The first episode was all about insert of Chi, the Key energy. The second episode that people are loving and raving, especially because his beloved wife, Angela Damato, and Mr. Damon Damato shared the story of love, the creation of love of the healing sanctuary, which is not a place, it's a place for revival, right? And recovery, or
restoration, yes.
Restoration and revival and resetting is not the typical, I'm going to go clean myself. No, it's like really where Key finds you and healing finds you when you do the work. But today we're going to talk about the impact that and the contribution that with these, with the Chi, with the Key, with the healing modalities they offer, with the healing sanctuary, with science-based programs, with everything they're doing, how they are contributing to our society, our community, and especially to the veteran world. So we're going to start, and welcome back. I feel we should have a podcast together.
I know.
You have the best voice for podcast. I can't wait for your podcast. We have to talk about it. But
yes.
So tell me about it. So we were talking about, this is episode 3, so we're just going to continue. So tell me a little bit about the history on why you are such an incredible contributor to the world of the veterans in the United States.
Over a period of time, we've really become an advocate for our veterans. I don't feel that they're really being heard and seen and felt the way that they should. When they, they're built up to become, these machines and, help fight these wars, occupy space, take out insurgents. And what does that really mean? We take away the humanity of folks, and insurgents is like a name, is like widget, but really those are people.
Right.
So we just had a recent stay with a gentleman that did 5 tours in Afghanistan. He was served for 12 years, and they made him a killing machine, basically. And he's coming back with tremendous trauma. And because he can't really deal with it, on top of that, from the PTSD related issues is alcohol and drug abuse. But when your own government is telling you to take out the bad guy, but there is going to be collateral damage, and that there are women and children that are going to be affected and killed, how do you deal with that when you come back? The exit strategy is insufficient. So when they come back, there's no downregulating. They get you prepared, but they don't prepare you to leave the service, and on top of that, oftentimes they have to fight for their benefits, not above the call of duty. They're just wanting what was promised to them, and oftentimes they even have to take and get an attorney and fight for what was just owed to them.
Wow.
And it's heartbreaking to see that. And on top of it, of course, they're dealing with all kinds of psychological and physical. He had 187 jumps, and he wears an 80-pound pack on him. So his hips, his knees, his ankles are demolished. And this is just one individual of hundreds of thousands of folks. So. It's hard to hear these stories, they can't unsee the things that they've seen.
Yes.
and it overflows into their life. And then, of course, it doesn't just affect the individual that served. They have families or children and so on. And so it affects all of them. And it's not being addressed. And I had two friends of mine. The reason why I really got involved into helping veterans is I had a couple of friends that were close to me. One died in battle and another friend committed suicide, and enough was enough. And so, I didn't serve, but my heart goes out to them. And I thought to myself, what do I know? What do I know? How can I help somebody? And it was, through my excursions and my life of how I healed from my, levels of trauma, which in the past podcasts, I'm not going to get into that
in
again.
The first one.
But
we'll put the link of the first
to
podcast.
Understand, so when I sit down with a group of men and women or an individual, I lay my cards down and show complete transparency and say, listen, I can't for a minute comprehend what you've been through, but I do understand pain and fear and addiction tendencies and a number of different levels. So I share the most vulnerable component of myself first, so that they feel that we're on an even playing field. But then I can begin to give them hope and be able to share what's possible. And it's amazing when I can sit with somebody in less than an hour and be able to see a light back in their eyes. Like
they recover their soul. So I have served people in rebirthing that are veterans that have witnessed the most horrific things. Yeah. But I also can't imagine. But one of the things that I've heard, and we're going to go through what are the tools that you use to support them, right? I studied transcendental meditation for many years. And I remember meeting this gentleman that couldn't sleep without a gun close to his ear. Yeah. And any little sound he will grab, engage the gun. I don't know even how to call that, right? Yeah. He will have all his kids, all the family go down the bed. He will run these, how are they called? These plays that, what he lived in war. I think he was in Iraq or something like that. But he couldn't, over and over again, until he discovered transcendental meditation. And in a month, that was gone. And this lasted for, I believe, 10, 12 years. Yeah. So there is a light, of hope for them. There is something.
Absolutely.
So what do you do? Let's say I come to you, I just came from war, I'm fully med up, right, with medications, with obviously drug, alcohol is to mitigate the incredible pain and the probably guilt, right, that they're dealing with. Every
emotion, it's an Shame. Entire roller coaster. So I will answer that question in a moment. In the first podcast, we talked about that I used to tour with the Chi Revolution.
Yes.
And we would do 20 shows a year. We would have, 1,000 to 5,000 people a show. It was important. We had a discussion that all of us that kind of ran the show that we wanted to make these 3-day seminars available to our veteran community for free. So no charge for these 3 12-hour days where we would teach breathwork, mindfulness, meditation, qigong, tai chi. We would teach the science and psychology of food and how that affects our bodies as well. Because if we don't address that, the PTSD, the trauma that is laden in the gut. Right.
Wow.
So the serotonin, 90% of the serotonin is derived from the belly. So that's the second brain. So the talk therapy that a lot of times, it is effective to a degree, but we're not addressing, I say the issues are in the tissues, right? So the thing is that we're not, it hasn't gone deep enough. And so that's one of the things that we address. And we talk about that in these seminars about how we can, because say, for instance, you've got this, and then all of a sudden you start, alcohol or pain medication, which is very common, and opiates and so on. So that destroys the gut. So when we begin to have, of course, the standard American diet, which is poor,
it's so poor,
and it's tearing us apart. So it's exacerbated, right? So they're never going to heal, right? I don't care how much talk therapy and how much of anything is going to be done if we don't begin to rebuild your gut and from the inside out. And we'll get to all the stuff that we do at the Healing Sanctuary in a moment.
Yes.
But at first, let's give them the information, right? So we were able to, within, 5, 6, 7... About 5 years, we were able to have about 25,000 veterans across the United States come for free to these seminars and be able to share with them transformative methods to be able to cope. But we just drop into a city for a while, and that was at least we can offer this as a service to give back. But I knew in my heart, it really struck me. So we started that in 2015. 2016 is when I formally put together the 501c3 nonprofit Chi United in Las Vegas, Nevada, because that's my home. That's where I live. And from there, we had a home base, and we really were able to reach out to not just the VA, who were actually kind of hesitant because they look at the modalities and things we do as like woo-woo. Yeah. So they show no respect towards other possibilities other than medicating. You literally come in and say, "Hey, I'm feeling these things." They're like, here's a bunch of Xanax or Prozac and all these other things. Not dealing with the core issue. It's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and kicking the can down the road, and that's how they treat these veterans. And so I'm about find a problem, or and solve a problem. Find a problem, solve a problem. So from there we started. So I over since 2016 I have taught over 1,200 classes.
Wow. To
veterans at no cost.
Wow.
And it was important to be able to provide services like that for free because they need it. We did 20 workshops. So these were like full day workshops. I did over 100 seminars, were multi-day seminars for them for free. Everything has always been at no expense to them. We did, and so as we began to grow the nonprofit, we went from providing classes and workshops and seminars to actually doing something that was close to my heart, which we talked about doing these outdoor course races, OCR, or say Spartan race.
I remember the Spartan, the mountains.
So since 2016, we've done 16 races. We've done 5 trifecta races where everybody medaled in it. So I would train breath.
Dang, I gotta go with you.
Yeah. So I do breath coaching. So we would overcome the obstacles of the mind and the physical body. Of the mind and the physical body. We had over 200 participants medal in the Spartan races, and then as we began to expand and grow into doing retreats, my wife and I we've put 153 veterans through our retreat program, whether it be half day, full day, or full weekend experiences. Amazing. So they can get an immersion of really. So it's about connection, right? Camaraderie, like teaming up and getting off the couch, getting involved again, because they lose their identity when they come back. Oftentimes they just are lost because that's now who they are. They don't even know how to relate to their family. So they need another way and another outlet to feel that they're connected and still getting out and having purpose. Because what is it? What is life if you feel that you have no purpose and no belonging? I know guys that sign back up and they had little kids at home and signed back up and went across
for the purpose.
Yeah, they would rather be with their brothers in arms in danger rather than be at home because they can't adjust. So so they become putting themselves in jeopardy, but they would rather be there because at least they knew who they are. So that exit strategy that is set up for them is set up to fail. So it's the private sector stepping in and finding a way to connect, and that's how we begin to really get this momentum. So I went from just providing classes and sharing deep experiences, doing breath work and meditation, and then moving into getting them, hey, let's get involved. So let's team up. So we get these groups. We we would do races all over the country. We'd team up. So we would train a couple of days a week. Every Sunday we would go run up in the canyon in the mountains, like really getting them involved. They loved it so much. I mean, these are like unforgettable experiences. So I'm kind of going a little bit around here, but it's
no,
just
but it all makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
So when we do, I remember one particular race. It was good size, about 30 guys, and we were halfway through. And then there was this one moment where we had to climb this mountain, and we had these 75-pound like sandbags. So the way to pick it up to really get up that mountain was to put it over your shoulders, right? And one of the veterans was with us, just started breaking down, and remembered because
it's huge. Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, it's okay.
He picked up the sandbag and put it around his shoulders, and reminded him of his brother that was killed, and he had to take him back. He had to take his body back, and he had to climb this mountain, and he just was sobbing, and we were there supporting him in all the way through this process. And when we got to the end, he was able to set it down. He felt that he had put him to rest finally.
Yeah. Wow. This is very powerful, because you are talking about systemic work that we can all do together.
Yeah.
This is very real, It's not only him carrying the sandbag, he's carrying his brother.
Yeah, the weight, the burden, and the weight that he's been carrying for years, and he never let it go. In that moment,
he put it down.
He put it down, and he put us to rest.
Wow.
And it was so powerful and so amazing, and that was so cathartic, and for him to heal in that moment, and we were all there to support him, and it would have never happened if we didn't provide a space for him. There was another lady that she was a little bit older, but she was a trooper. She was at war in Bosnia, and they used to go through the minefields in the mud in Bosnia looking for IEDs, and they'd have to feel for them. And so it was such a scary thing, because one wrong move and you're dead, right? I mean, everybody's gone.
Yeah.
So, the intensity she kept in for years, like decades. And so finally, so we were doing so this was a different race, and we came to an area which was about a football field long, so like 300 or like 100 yards. 300. Sorry, it was about 100 yards, with about 300 feet. And it was like up chest deep in mud, and she just stopped in her tracks and started bawling. Right,
yeah, she went back into
because
that moment,
boom,
right?
she was in Bosnia, like in a moment's notice, and so we talked her through and walked her through all the way to the end. But when she got to the end, this emotional outpouring of like conquering that fear and getting through this was a revelation. It was an amazing thing, and it was so cool to see, because we could be there and support each individual going through some sort of trial or tribulation type of thing. So I believe like sharing those moments and providing a space to do those races was such a powerful experience, in teaming up and getting as many groups of people, getting them off the couch, getting them connected with other veterans, other people that got this in common, and together we were stronger. So, it's like I say, be united, we united, she united.
Wow.
Right, and that is absolutely a thing, because we can't do this alone. The opposite of isolation is connection, and we got that dialed in. And we reach out to other veteran nonprofit organizations, and we're not a membership. What we are is we add value to other nonprofits, veteran nonprofits. We provide services for them. We have an acupuncturist that works at the Healing Sanctuary, and what we found out when I was sharing classes is that they don't have the ability to get the healing that's needed, so they can get a script for one acupuncture session, and then they'll come back and they say, why don't you try something else? So they may not be able to get another script for 2 or 3 months. And when it comes to that type of modality, you have to be consistent.
Repetition.
So it makes no difference. It does them no good. So knowing this, again, the private sector comes in. We made an alliance with Extreme Couture, Randy Couture, the fighter, his gym, and set up shop at his place. And so every Saturday for like a year, we have had free acupuncture sessions.
Till this day?
Yes, from noon till 3 every Saturday for veterans, first come, first serve. And I hope in the future we'll be able to have more days than that or more time, but that's what we've been able to at least have. They know every Saturday I can get this work done. So whether it be physical pain, emotional pain, whether it be digestive issues, whatever's going on, we can tackle that. And the guy that does it, he was a Marine, and so he's our guy at the Healing Sanctuary. So, find a problem, solve a problem, right? So, and then we began to do these mini retreats for them in providing a space completely by donor-based or sponsor-based. So people go to chiunited.org. They can contribute and give towards that, because the thing is like, we're not selling T-shirts. We're not gimmicky. We are actually giving real services that move the needle and actually help solve problems. And so I say like emotional recovery and self-discovery happen at the Healing Sanctuary for these veterans. And so it's been so important to be able to have sacred ground for them to be able to step into. They love the breathwork, and it's kind of funny because you got these guys that are special ops and like big dudes, and like they're like, Damon's the only guy that can make me cry, man. Like I love
that. What an honor.
Yeah, right.
What an honor.
So it's not happy or sad. It's the raw emotion of feeling something, because we are so numbed out from the violence and so numbed out from the social media and the news and adult media content and everything that you just you don't feel anything. And then they're on either Prozac or they're on Xanax or they're all these things.
It's all numbing.
So so to
numbing.
finally feel something again is confusing at first, but a revelation. Like I had a guy just 2 days ago, just bewildered about it, but it was so visceral that he felt alive.
That's it. You said something in one of our episodes that the pain that you were avoiding to feel, was showing up to heal you. And that made, we received so many comments. I received so many messages like, wait a second, the pain that I've been trying to avoid is my ally, is my friend. Yeah. So the healing is the feeling, right? That what you said. And I find this fascinating because right now for me, it expanded the cognition, the awareness of the veterans. They are children of humanity. Yeah. For me, if I was their mother, I would like to heal them all. If I was their sister, if I was their brother, if I was, I cannot say if I was their government, because the government is doing such a poor job in having a parental figure for humanity. It's just very, very toxic, very not put out there to help, but to numb, right? But I love that you're providing this kind of systemic, all-encompassing, compassionate, and yet strong portal for the veterans to... It's kind of, you are delivering the homeopathic remedy of war with war. Right? They go to war and they destroy themselves, or the government destroys themselves and them. And then you come back and you have to go to war with that, with those traumas, with those memories. But this is a war that leads to peace, the real peace, which is within. And for you to lead that army is like, I don't have a lot of questions. I just have a lot of reverence for the work that you and Angela are doing and the Healing Sanctuary. And I have met some of your veterans that have healed. And when I'm in their presence, I'm like, how did they do it? That they couldn't walk, that they're running races. And here
That's
I am. Damon, I had an Achilles tendon broke. I broke my knee. And you're like, okay, Yvonne, yes,
It's true. It's interesting. There's a couple of things I want to mention.
Yeah, whatever. Use all the podcasts for you.
The VA does try, but they're short-sighted on what they will allow them to do. And I don't think there's a lot of really looking into the results. They will pay large amounts of money, like $4,500 a day, they will be charged by some of these institutions. So meaning each person for a 90-day stay could be worth almost $500,000. And they're just babysitting them or putting them in group therapy, talk therapy. They're not expecting them to do anything. And so basically they're going to get sober because they're on lockdown. But when they get out, they have no skills, no tools. There's nothing there for them. And we here in Las Vegas at the Healing Sanctuary for veterans are the first that actually provide services for them that actually move the needle. So it's part of the Chi to Life program, and which makes the difference. Now we're sponsors and donations, so we're the ones that actually pay for them to come. We have people that I had a veteran come about 3 months ago and got him sponsored. So it's privately funded. So no insurance, because they don't even acknowledge breathwork as a modality. They don't recognize anything that we do. But maybe someday that will change. But meanwhile, again, we had to take matters in our own hands because in our other saying is chip away at 22 a day.
Wow.
That because they and 22 suicides a day is actually 10 years old. It's way more than that.
Yeah.
And you can barely fathom what I just said. 22 veterans a day kill themselves, and that is probably on the low end.
Very low end.
Right. So our kind of saying is chip away at 22 a day. So the thing is, our goal is to be able to move the needle on that number and at least do our part. They have sacrificed everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Ask yourself, what have you sacrificed?
Yeah,
in your life?
That's why I'm thinking like, what are my issues? What I don't even know. And I know there's modalities that say, well, your issues are your issues, but no. I don't even know if I have earned the right to say, oh, well, my issues, I have nothing to complain,
right.
But I have a duty to support. I have a duty to contribute to my common humanity, to the human civilization. And if we want, we need to take the care in our hands, because the government is not going to save us. The system is really broken.
They spend millions of dollars, and it's not helping them. It's just not effective. What's out there, and we have found now. The thing is, we take so much care. We outnumber each individual that comes to stay with us 6-1.
Oh.
So you have a team. That's the only way this gets done. That for sustainable sobriety and sustainable being able to find that peace in your life and have skills and tools that will serve you for the rest of your life. It's profound, and the whole feeling is understanding concept. I can talk about it all day, but it's something that you must experience.
Yeah,
to
you have to live it in the body.
Yes.
Right? Because the body is the one that stored all the trauma.
Yeah. They have wonderful, we have a doctor we work with that provides neurofeedback therapy, and it's very specific. There's a lot of that, but it's called brain paint. And this has an 86% success rate with veterans and PTSD. Again, the food healing, the science of food, the psychology of food. When we work with them, we do all the blood tests. We find out what's going on with them, so that all the deficiencies in the body get filled. We address the gut biome. We address, so from the healing bone broths, the smoothies, the fermented foods, and so on, like that begins to restore and get them back online, get them up to par. I challenge them with intensive breath work. I don't know anybody that teaches it the way that I do, especially when working.
Me neither, and I've worked with a lot of breathwork masters.
So these, and the thing is how do I relate it to them?
Yes.
Whether it be law enforcement guys or firefighters and veterans, it's it doesn't matter what we call it. I can say qigong, or I can say performance breathing, or I can say they're words. All that matters is the end result. And so how I identify with them so that I can lead them to a better life and show them the way. I don't just tell them, I show them, and then they do the work and they see for themselves. And it's a revelation that they actually now understand Mother Nature in them. They understand God is around them and in them, and that the chi flows around and through in their veins, in their DNA. It's like vapor coming off a hot rice. They have the ability to heal themselves as well. I guide them into a critical pathway of restoration, and to be able to restore, to revive, to realign, to restructure everything. And they begin to understand and believe it. Then we get into the cold immersion, and there's leverage to that. Because when you're sitting in freezing water that's moving, because we have a system that like I don't know anybody in the country that has the program that we have, the system that we've built. They sit there, and all of that represents something. That is all the toxicity, all the negativity. That's the addiction. That's the PTSD. They sit with it, and to learn how to
stay
be
with that.
an immovable mountain.
That.
So instead of being a pebble in the ocean, like Rumi says, pebble in the ocean, you become the ocean. You become vast. You become unstoppable, undeniable, irrefutable. You become a force of nature, and you understand who you truly are in that moment. And that is a game changer. They're using your breath, using the power that they've always had underneath their nose their whole life.
Wow. I think this episode, you walked us through, but this one, the immovable mountain. Yeah. I just picture myself like that. And I picture myself watching my own storms, the thunder, the lightning, unable to move, but able to the capacity to receive that erosion, right? The erosion is what builds the mountain, what shapes the form, and not run away. Yeah. Because if you're a mountain, there's nowhere to run.
No.
Wow, that's power.
Yeah.
That's mastery right there.
Yes.
That's the ability to withstand that. And I am just so grateful that you can create such a container of safety and support and teamwork.
Yeah.
Because I do not know if this can be done alone. Maybe, you went through that alone, but you had to go through that because of who you were going to lead. But wow, Damon. So this is very powerful, because this is a light, not at the end of the tunnel, inside the tunnel that they are in. And so how do the veterans find you? Like, how do the people, like, do they come through? For example, if I know a veteran, do I invite him, or do they come by themselves? How do they?
Typically, we because we work with a lot of other nonprofit veteran organizations. That's how they hear about us, and they know we've been a huge support. Everybody knows us here, at least. So they always direct, hey, this guy is struggling, or what's going on, or we have people that are work through different components of the VA, and they will find out, are they the right fit? If they're not, they have to be a willing participant. So if they're not willing to say, they like, I want to do all this, but I'm not into the food
that
healing.
applies for everything, everyone. Relationships, businesses, everything. If you are a right fit or not. I dated a couple of unfit.
Yes. So they got to be a right fit. Like if they're down with everything, but they don't want to do, I want to eat what I want to eat, that's not going to work.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to, have a structure. Well, we have a structure that's designed to make sure that they meet all of the criteria to be a candidate for this. And so what we are, in essence, doing as well is we are beginning to build this momentum, because we have, I believe, serious momentum happening right now. And we're laying the groundwork. We're getting data. So, they do the blood work when they come in. We find out where are they at in this moment, so we can do it. So at the end of their stay, whether it be 3 months or 4 months, we do it again. And then we continue to work with them outpatient. So in a year, we'll do it again. So we have data now showing how we've been able to move the needle on where they are, with the NAD IV therapy, with the acupuncture. All of those are other modalities that we utilize, so acupuncture.
Yeah, walk us through. So you have, just briefly, because I want to direct people and the veterans, and the civilians. I want to talk to the civilians for a moment, because all of us are veterans in one way or another, and we have the duty to support one another. But walk us through the therapy. So you have NAD, which is beginning to be more recognized.
It's starting to. So here's the deal. So we provide what's called the Chi to Life program, right? Yes. So the Chi to Life is the key to life. And the key to life is first and foremost to simply breathe. So it is the intensive breath work, the performance breathing, the in the moment type of breathing techniques, the emotional freedom techniques, which I incorporate a lot of breath work into that, tapping into acupressure points that are opening up the meridian channels, opening up from trauma that is stagnant in the body. and also what I call exploration breathing, which is where you really begin to travel and go deep. And it's more of along the lines of pranayama from specifically the Vedic system in India.
Yes.
So that's one of the keys, right, of the Keys to Life program. Another key, of course, is the food healing, the science of food, the understanding.
I think that's super important because I want to emphasize that the gut, you said 98% of serotonin, right? Is in the gut?
90%.
90%.
Yeah.
So if the serotonin, the happy hormones are in the gut, that's our gut instinct. The gut,
second brain.
The second brain is our God.
Yeah.
The God instinct is in the gut, right?
Yeah.
The gut health is the gut health. So that's important. And Angela, your wife, is just a genius. I mean, the genius for the food science, and then you do the food science.
So the science of food. So understand the different phytochemicals and in the nutrients and everything. So everything's about ingredients. Everything is the quality of everything that you put into your body. You are not what you eat, but you are what you absorb. Concept, right?
Love that. Yes.
And also the psychology of food. There's a lot of psychology around what goes on. It's a lot of emotions running around, especially and then we add in from childhood, or add in from holidays, and we add in from all these monumental things that happen in life that's connected to it, and we are in a sick society when it comes to the standard American diet. So we begin at first with them. We're not going to take anything away from you. We're just going to add things in first. So we give them these very healing bone broths, which are just amazing. Divine.
Can we talk about divine? Angela, divine.
But it's so key to begin to when the gut has been destroyed, to begin to rebuild that, because that is the foundation. If we don't address that, we are not you may be good for a little while, but at some point you're going to fall back into it, because we haven't addressed all the bodies. The mental, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual have to be addressed. And we actually have a plan. I see many people talk the talk, but do not have any plan on how to do
structure.
it. No, absolutely not. And I don't know anybody in the U.S. that's doing what the Healing Sanctuary is doing, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So the breath is key. Obviously the organic food is key. The mindfulness techniques and the meditations are key, and they're kind of I say breathwork is almost like training wheels to meditation. If you have a difficulty finding a way to meditate, breathwork can be a critical pathway in order to get you to that salvation, that higher level of that epiphany that you can actually begin to separate and find that safe space. And a lot of people find difficulty in silence. Right, and it's a scary thing, and I think our society.
I just went through a dark retreat. I love it.
So I've done that too. So we do a digital detox. We do a number of different ways that begin to separate from that, and then you can actually find the calm in that storm. Which is a beautiful place to be. So mindfulness technique.
I love that. Find the calm in the storm.
In the storm.
Not out of the storm.
Yeah, no, find it in the storm,
people.
Again, emotional freedom techniques and how to be in your body, how to be present. Because, if you ever heard anybody say, God, today just went by so quick, I don't know what happened. Or oh my God, this year went by so quick, I don't know what happened.
I'm not present.
They have been the woulda, coulda, shoulda. Right?
I do not like that, yes.
Or they're always looking for something better, but meanwhile, they're not here. So we share how to be present, how to be in this moment. The more time that we spend in this moment, the more time we appreciate it, the deeper and richer our relationships are, and the longer. My days feel like 3 days. Every day.
Likewise.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, Yvonne, how's your day going? I'm like, it's still going.
Yeah.
It's still an expansion.
I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I did that earlier. It was technically 6 hours ago, but it feels like that was like
I always see
a week ago.
We're working since 5 a.m., 4 a.m. We're alive. We're breathing. I love that. I love that. Feel it in the body, because then you become the mountain.
Yes.
You won't miss your life.
Yeah. So it's, and I think that we have a way to have a deeper, richer relationship with other people when we're being more mindful. The practice of being more mindful.
Yes.
And being intentional. Allows you to be in that space, and it's a learned process. So many people don't have those skills, so we share how to do that. And then shifting, another key would be, of course, like we mentioned, the NADIV therapy, which is really kind of a cellular restructuring and healing of the brain.
Yes.
So think of like the damage that's been done either by certain levels of PTSD or substance abuse is almost like potholes in the brain. So the NAD almost basically kind of in a weird way like fills that out, and you're past baseline, you're above baseline, so that the synapses are firing. You're beginning to restructure how the brain, the left and right hemisphere of the brain is working, and it's an amazing thing to begin to heal that part of the body in such a powerful way. And that's usually like a 5-day process that you do about 1,000 milligrams a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's intense. The acupuncture as well is another key. That's medicine going from the outside in, where Qigong is medicine from the inside going out. So that is the yin and the yang. And together, the power of the piece come together and become one, right?
Oh, I'm just feeling this is such a powerful episode, and I'm so grateful that we're going to put this out there for Latin America and anybody else that listens to this in the world. Wow, you just gave like the Tao of healing.
Yeah. And we bring that nucleus.
The Tao of healing, holistically, but inside, outside, yin, yang. Wow.
Yeah. So we call these all the things we do, like we offer actionable solutions and skills and tools, not theory, not just lessons. It's everything is the adaptation of actionable solutions. And that is a huge difference, and has made a difference. And plus the quality of care being, like I said, you receive a team of people that are working with you to give you higher vision, to give you the ability to begin to believe in yourself again. Yes. We also have another program is conscious communication, so you begin to learn skills. We've lost the ability.
We all need that.
We've lost the ability to have these one-on-one. This is the real Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Right. We can't even write. They took. Writing out of school, like cursive writing. So journaling is huge. It's very therapeutic. So every time I go into a session, we do deep breath work, and then we come out of it because you become vulnerable, you become open, you're vibrating at a different level. And so that's when we start hitting the questions, and so we can come from a space, the armor's outside, the ego's outside, and we can speak truth and peace.
Wow.
And right? Be absolutely translucent. We can allow, right?
Beings.
Yes, and that's when we can find we can speak with clarity, right? And we can come from that space, and we keep revisiting and restructuring. So so it's like a question would be, just simply, what do you want?
Which is one of the most challenging questions.
Right. So a lot of times, most times, people say, I want to be happy.
Yeah.
Of course, but happiness, as we know, just like anything else, is an emotion that is going to pass like clouds. It's a cloud. And so we're going to have moments of happiness. But the thing is, it's like, I hear everything you're saying, and I want you to be happy as well. All of us want that. So let's find a critical pathway to find joy in your life. So let's go back in time and begin to find out. So we ask other qualifying questions in order, so we actually have a way to attain this, rather than, because it's almost like a wish.
Yeah, it's a wish.
So how can we attain true joy from deep down inside?
And what do we need to do?
Typically, it's about contribution and giving back.
That's the highest human need.
Yes.
As soon as you contribute.
Exactly. So part of our program also is people are spending time working with a nonprofit, whether it be working with dogs or animals, or working with children, or then you begin to go outside of yourself. So whatever pain you're feeling, you would hide with substance abuse because you're running away. It's because it's very me.
Yeah,
right?
It's all about the me.
Yes, and you can't get out of this. So when you begin to see the fruits of being able to contribute and give back in a meaningful way, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I feel needed, I feel wanted, and so therefore there is love of thyself, and you can get out of that, and then that shifts everything, because it's not about the me, but it is about the we and the collectivity of humanity.
As soon as you start with the we, the healing of the me happens effortlessly.
Yeah,
that's my experience.
So many times people have never been in contribution or don't even know how they maybe wanted to, but they don't even know how to start.
They don't know how.
It's amazing. So no worries. We have many different outlets to work with other groups to be able to fulfill that. But I'm telling you, once they start doing it, they feel amazing and they love it. And show them the way.
I love when people begin to contribute and then they feel the contrast. They stop contributing, they go back to themselves, and then the real pain starts kicking in, and they're like, why? Because I'm not contributing. I'm not being a contributor of this society. And that I think that's the ultimate for our human endeavors here on earth. So
with the veterans, they are people of service, so they understand that concept, but they got lost. So the thing is, when I kind of resurface that and allow them to find a space where they can do that, then they feel that they're needed in a different way, and they can bring that passion that they had before.
Feel that they are needed.
Yes.
Wow, that's so important. So important. Wow. Damon, we're coming to the end of this episode. You're invited whenever you want to bring your veterans to contribute something. I'm just so grateful that you're doing this work, and that you're doing the work, the Tao, the Chi that God chose you to do. It's like we always speak about choices, but I think this is a choiceless choice. Once you access the portal of service, it's like, I don't even have time to choose. I'm just going to do it. And I love that you focus on actionable results and creating a pathway where I want to be happy. Okay, let's, X-ray that. Yeah. Let's create a feasible map that you can walk through and obtain results. End results. Yeah. End of the podcast. So, Damon, we're going to put all the links for contributing for all of us, what we consider civilians, that we reject war, we criticize war, we may criticize veterans, we may love veterans, but the way to support them is to actually do something for them.
And if I may say so, one thing. So our goal by the end of this year is to have another house that will be independent, and that will be for only veterans.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And what it's going to be is based on sponsors and donors, so that we can put 24 veterans through this program at no cost. So like St. Jude's for children, there's no cost for parents for the cancer with kids. The same concept, no cost, not a dime will a veteran pay to do a 3-month program, and we can put 24 veterans through a program per year, and we are building towards that, and that will come to fruition this year.
It will.
Absolutely, and it will be the first of its kind. And as we begin to continue to get the results and the data and the testimonies, we are going to change the system moving forward, and this will be the norm moving into the coming years and decades about how healing is done, and actually solving the problems and the issues that they're facing, the challenges that they're up against in the concrete jungle that they are not addressing now, and we are going to have an answer for it. And as Chi United is at the forefront of saving these lives.
Amen. So everyone listening, we're going to put all the links. If you want to be one of the first sponsors to contribute to this evolutionary, not revolutionary, evolutionary support, where the exit strategy for the veterans that it has been poorly done by all the systems before us is now correctly done, where healing is possible, where results not only are actionable but real, that they're in the body, that lives of people and the future generations of these veterans change for the best. Now you know what to do. So we're going to put all the links. Please reach out to Damon. Please reach out to the Healing Sanctuary. Please reach out to all the links that we're going to put. Contribute, and let's make this a reality. It is done. So thank you, beloved Damon. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing. Everyone, please share this podcast, subscribe. The more you share it, the more we can pass the good word. And if you know a veteran, please share this podcast with them. We love you. We'll see you next week. Un besito. Adios. Thank you for listening to the Spirituality Now podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and share us with a friend. To learn more about how to live more present in the moment and take your faith into action, visit thelaflorteachings.com/faith to access the free training of 21 Days of Faith in Action today.